Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Stay tuned.
Right after this episode.
For our discussion.
From Television City in Hollywood, we bring you the Jack Benny program with Jack's special guest, Liberace, presented by Lucky Strike.
Friends, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is...
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strike means fine tobacco, richer tasting fine tobacco.
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
Sure, Lucky's taste better. Why, everybody knows Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Fine, light, mild tobacco that just naturally tastes better. And Lucky's are made better. They're round and firm and fully packed to draw freely and smoke evenly with fine tobacco in a better-made cigarette. Golly, you're just bound to get better taste. Smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact is...
Lucky's taste better.
Cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
Hello, Mr. Benny's dressing room, star of stage, screen, radio, and right now he's in front of the cameras trying to convince television. Who's calling, please? Oh, TV Guide magazine? Oh, yes. Oh, I'm sure he'd be glad to pose for pictures. You want to do a story about his program? Oh, he'd be more than flattered. But I'll tell Mr. Benny just as soon as he... Benny. Benny. Oh, you want Beanie. He's on another network. Benny and Beanie is close. I'll bet Cecil is C6 sea serpent makes more than I do. Hi, boys.
Hello, Rochester. Well, there's another show over with. And Rochester was the most wonderful audience out there. You know, they didn't miss a thing. Got every gag, laughed at everything. I don't know, you know, Rochester, there's something about, I don't know, when an audience laughs the way they did today, it does something to me here.
Yeah, that's the spot, all right.
Huh?
You almost had a heart attack when they laughed at Bob Hope.
I did not. Listen, I'm going to get these clothes off. I'll be right with you. Rochester, now you know very, very well that I'm not jealous of Bob Hope or any other comedian. I like all comedians. And let me tell you something else, Rochester. Believe me, it isn't only the comedy that counts or the laughs. It's how you look out there. It's your appearance. Well, believe me, that's important, too.
You know, I saw your show and you really look good today.
I did?
Uh-huh. You know, in the close-ups, your shoulders were as broad as Victor Matures.
No, really?
Uh-huh. And in the long shots, you were as tall as Gary Cooper.
Honest?
Uh-huh. And in the medium shots, you were as thin as Captain Hepburn.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Rochester.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah?
Jack, I just ran out of cold cream. Have you got some?
Yeah, there's some on my dressing table there.
Oh, yeah.
Rochester.
Uh-huh.
Take these, will you?
Yes, sir. Victor Mature.
Take this, too.
Yes. Gary Cooper. Hepburn. Well, how's it feel to be Jack Benny again?
Fine, fine. Say, Rochester, while I was on, were there any calls for me?
Oh, several, but one seemed to be urgent. You had a call from Mr. Liberace.
Liberace?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, it must have been important. What did he want?
Maybe it was out of cold cream.
Oh, don't be funny. I better call back and see what he wants.
Okay, I'll go get your trousers pressed.
Liberace, huh?
Mhm.
Say, Mabel. What is it, Gertrude? Mr. Benny's line is flashing. Yeah. I wonder what Stacy Bonehead wants now. I'll plug in and find out. Yes, Mr. Benny?
Oh, Gertrude, I had a very important message to call Liberace. Will you please see if you can get us home?
Yes, sir. He wants I should get him Liberace. Well, pack up your troubles in your old kid bag and smile, smile, smile. Well, look who's being sarcastic. I'll bet you wish you could smile like Liberace. I could if I did what he did. What'd he do? He had his upper lip removed. Well, anyway, I'd rather go out with Liberace than that sourpuss Jack Benny. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know, the other night Jack took me out for a drive, and when we got to a lonely spot, the car suddenly stopped, and he said he was out of gas. He's been out of gas for a long time. What was wrong with the car? Nothing. When he stopped the car, I thought he was going to kiss me, but he didn't. I even leaned back like this. I don't blame him. I've seen a better pucker on a closed laundry bag. Oh, yeah? Yes, Miss Benny.
Gertrude, what's taking so long?
I've been trying to get Mr. Liberace's house, but his line is busy.
Oh, well, look at Gertrude. Keep trying to get him, and if you reach him, tell him that I'm on the way to his house. I'm going over to his home right away.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jeffrey? Oh, Jeffrey?
Did you call me, sir?
Jeffrey, there's someone at the front door.
Oh, very good, sir. How do you do?
How do you do? I came over here to see Mr. Liberace. I didn't know he had company.
Oh, I'm the butler.
Oh.
Why don't you come in?
Thank you.
Oh, Jack.
Oh, Liberace.
How are you?
You know, this is the first time I've been here. You really have a beautiful home.
Well, thank you. My brother George and I find it very comfortable.
You do? Yes, it must be nice and warm.
Oh, you're referring to my candelabra. I didn't think you'd noticed them.
Well, I'm very observing.
Well, you see, anyone with an artistic temperament is inclined to be a little nervous and high-strung. And I find candlelight very restful. And it relieves the tension.
And it practically eliminates the electric bill. Now, Liberace, I tried to answer your call, you see. I knew you'd called me, and your line was busy. So I came over to see what you wanted.
Well, Jack, I wanted to see you about something very important. Won't you sit down?
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I beg your pardon, sir, but Pierre would like to know what you'd like him to prepare for dinner.
Well, I don't know. What did we have last night?
Cuisse de grenouille à la José Ferrer.
Oh, yeah.
Quiz de la Jose Ferrer? What's that?
Frog's legs in a kneeling position.
Well, I've never had them that way.
Oh, they're very good.
Really?
Do we have any left?
Oh, yes, sir. 3 knees and a shin bone.
Well, that's not very much.
Oh, yes, it is, sir. You see, the shin bone's connected to the knee bone, and the knee bone's connected to the hip bone, and the hip bone's connected to the thigh bone.
This dinner could be on the hit parade.
Jeffrey, send Pierre in.
Oh, very good, sir.
Pierre?
Oh, he's my chef.
Oh, really?
Excellent, excellent. In fact, he comes from a long line of chefs. His grandfather created a wonderful French dressing in 1888.
An 1888 French dressing. Huh?
He beat Chef Milani by 2 years.
Gee.
Did you wish to see me, sir?
Yes, Pierre. What do you suggest for dinner tonight?
Well, we have some breast of flamingo and gazelle steaks.
Breast of flamingo and gazelle steak.
Would you like to stay for dinner, Jack?
Well, if you have enough, I wouldn't want you to run to the zoo just.
Well, I'm sure we'll have enough. Pierre, Mr. Benny will stay for dinner.
Very good, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Well, Liberace, you certainly know how to live. You have a chef and 2 butlers.
Oh, no, I just have 1 butler, Jeffrey.
And what about this gentleman over here?
Oh, that's Martin. He's my candle changer.
I mean, he changes the candle.
He can change them when one burns down without losing a flicker.
Gosh! You mean you have a man just to change the candle?
I have 4 of them.
I can't get over it. Now,
I suppose you're anxious to know why I wanted to get in touch with you.
Yes, I have.
Well, I tell you...
I beg your pardon, sir.
What is it, Jeffrey?
Yamaguchi would like to speak to you, sir.
Oh, Yamaguchi. Send him right in.
Yamaguchi?
He's my gardener.
Oh, you have a garden?
Yamaguchi, you wanted to see me?
Yes, sir. I've got the back room all cleaned up, sir.
Well, fine. If you'll step over to the window with me, I'll show you what I'd like you to do next. Excuse us, please.
Yes.
That's the way I'd like to have you do the backyard.
Yes, sir. Look, Liberace, I know this isn't my business, but I think that this fellow Martin is a little confused. He put candles on Yamaguchi's rake.
I know. This is the day we burn the weeds.
Now, About this that you wanted to see me about.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, Jack, you see, my brother George is detained in New York. And I'm giving a concert tonight, and I wonder if you'd be so kind as to take my brother's place and play your violin.
Me? Are you serious? But, Liberace, you see, I'm a comedian, a buffoon. And the violin is just a prop in my hand, just to get laughs, that's all.
I know, Jack. That's the shame of it all.
What do you mean, shame?
Well, you see, I feel that deep down inside of you is a great musical talent. But you just haven't surrounded yourself with the proper atmosphere.
You may be right.
Well, you notice, I always adorn my piano with a candelabra. And you know, the audience seems to sense that my inspiration is extracted from the warm glow of the tiny flickering flames.
Tiny flickering flames. Well, that wouldn't work with me. See, once I played my violin where they burned down the theater, and I was still lousy. However, if you'd like me to appear at your concert with my violin, I'd only be too happy to.
Oh, well, good. Thanks a lot, Jack.
Liberace, of course, we haven't discussed money. You see, salary. I don't know if you realize what I get for each appearance that I make. You see.
No, I don't. What do you get?
Well, may come as a surprise, you see, but for each appearance, I get $7,500.
Oh, well, Jack, that's for being a comedian. Now, what was the last salary you got just for playing your violin?
$1.80 an hour. It was a wonderful couple. I'm so glad they got married. Now, anyway, I'll be so happy to be on your concert.
Liberace! Uncle Liberace! Where are you?
In here, Willie.
Who's that?
That's my nephew, Willie. He's been out playing football with his friends.
Oh!
Hello, Uncle Liberace.
I want you to meet Mr. Benny. This is my nephew, Willie.
Oh,
How
hello.
do you do, Mr. Benny?
Hello, Willie.
Now, you run along and get dressed for dinner.
Yes, Uncle Liberace.
Okay.
He's a cute little fella, isn't he?
Dinner is served.
Oh, shall we go in?
Yes, and then we'll get ready for the concert, right?
Fine, Liberace.
Oh, gosh, darling, isn't Liberace wonderful?
Oh, wonderful. I just can't wait till the intermission's over. Donald, what are you doing?
I was just noticing everybody in the lobby is smoking a Lucky Strike.
Are you sure they're all smoking Luckies?
Well, I imagine so. Oh, excuse me a minute there.
Curtain going up.
As you know, my brother George cannot be here this evening, but I was very, very fortunate to secure the services of another artist, Mr. Jack Benny. Jack, I think you're overdoing it.
Oh, you didn't want this? Well, I'll get my other violin. I'm terribly sorry.
How about tuning up?
What?
How about tuning up?
Yeah, go right ahead.
How about you tuning up?
Oh, give me a...
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to play a number that I recorded that we've had many requests for. Haven't we? It's called the September Song.
I don't fret when it's rainy and wet, or sizzling hot and dry. My jacket keeps the weather out and freshness in. Here's why.
Have you ever looked at the cellophane seal on a pack of cigarettes? Well, probably your eyes can't tell the difference between one seal and another. But the makers of Lucky Strike take special care to see that every pack of Luckies is extra tightly sealed, because that's what keeps the cigarettes inside fresher tasting. Now, here's how the American Tobacco Company, as one of its many quality controls, tests the seals of Luckies to make sure they are extra tight. This is Ruth Thompson, an examiner in the Lucky Strike manufacturing plant. Ruth takes packs of Luckies right from the production line. She cuts the cellophane wraps in half and removes them. She puts each half, open end down, in a pan of mercury. Then both halves are tested separately under air pressure to measure their air tightness. Maybe you think that's a lot of fuss to make over a cellophane seal. But the makers of Luckies know it's worth it. For when you take fine tobacco in a better-made cigarette and safeguard the better taste of that cigarette by sealing in its freshness, you're going to have a better tasting smoke. After all, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. See for yourself. Be happy. Go Lucky.
You know, these are the kind of shows that I always like to do where I have a chance to play my violin. Of course, when I was a kid, you know, I had to make up my mind what I wanted to be. And now I'm sort of sorry that I, you know, took up the violin. I would have much rather have been a baseball player, you see? Although I imagine she would have married him anyway. But I'd like to have you meet my guest star again, Mr. Liberace. Tell you how wonderful it was having you on my show and how nice you've been to be such a great sport about
it's fun.
all the kidding and everything. And I understand you're giving a concert in Pasadena Saturday night. Is that
Friday.
Friday night. That's
Civic
right.
Auditorium.
That's right.
And incidentally, Jack, all kidding aside, if you'd like to pick up another $1.80, I'd love to have you.
Well, I'd love to do it, but I have another wedding. That, you know, thanks. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in 3 weeks when my guests will be Mary Livingston and Joan Benton. 3 weeks from Sunday. And next Sunday, be sure and listen to and watch Ann Southern in Private Secretary. Thank you.
Appearing on tonight's program are Bea Bernaderet, Shirley Mitchell, Rex Evans, Lois Corbett, Rolf Sedan, Lane Lacano, and Roland Keith. Remember, 1 week from tonight on this same station, Ann Southern returns in Private Secretary.
Stay tuned for Toast of the Town on the CBS Television Network.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I am joined by John Henderson, and I'm joined by Kathy Fuller-Seeley. Awesome to see you guys here and be with you. We are presenting the next episode in our chronological presentation of Jack Benny episodes. I thought I'd mention at the beginning of this because some of the I can't mention often what we're doing here and why we're doing it and where to get it and all that stuff, because so many of the things we present are old us. It's like us from a year ago or 2 years ago or something. I mean, throughout the Christmas season, you had all episodes that were recorded early on a couple years ago. But now this is us this year. We just started 2023. And we're in the first few weeks of that. You probably won't see this until February or something because we've got a bunch of other shows to present. It might even be March by the time you get to this. I'm not sure. But anyway, the best way to view this, all of our shows are put up on Spotify. And on Spotify, the video's there. All you have to have is a free account on Spotify, and you can watch the videos. But I do think you have to go through, at least on your phone, you need to go through their player or something. If you try and play it through your browser, it's not going to show the video. But I think on computers, I think whether you go through the browser or you go through in person, I think it'll present the video either way, I think. But definitely if you have an account set up for free and you're going through their actual Spotify app, that'll definitely work. Anyway, so I just thought I would share that, because anywhere else, you can get us wherever you have any podcasts, but everywhere else, it'll just be the audio of the podcast. It won't be the video. And then the other way to get to us is if you just go to YouTube, and I'm under the name Buck Benny. And so you can just do a YouTube search for Buck Benny, and a lot of my videos will pop up, or you can search for the specific video you want. Like in this case, it's going to be Jack Benny with Liberace. And so it's a lot of fun. And if you type in Jack Benny with Liberace, this will probably pop up, and you can watch us do our intro. and watch the show as well. Anyway, so let's get into this episode. I'm excited because I think it's the only time Liberace's on Jack's show. Yeah. And Liberace was a huge thing. As we were just saying before we started coming in here, that 54, I guess, was Liberace's big year, 53, 54-ish time frame. And but Liberace would be around and he was one of those folks that I don't know how much he did appearances and things. He did a lot, but it feels like he did even more because everybody would mention Liberace. Your nighttime TV talk folks would joke about Liberace. Jack was the same way. People, even though Jack wasn't appearing on a show, he might get mentioned on a show as a joke. Anytime they talk about somebody being stingy, you're being a Jack Benny or whatever. And Liberace, anytime someone's being flamboyant or they're talking, then they talk about Liberace. So Liberace, for folks who don't know, was a wonderful piano player, but he was known more for his personality and more for his flamboyance than he probably was even for his piano playing. And then he's sort of like the way to think about it for modern audiences, I think, is to think about Elton John and say, okay, he's like almost like the forerunner of Elton John and Elton John's sort of flamboyant personality that he has. Anyway, so what do we think and what do we think about it? You guys can talk about whatever you want with this. Let's go to Kathy first. Kathy, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's delightful and weird as Liberace was. It's just such a fabulously unique person back in the day. And as they said today, what flummoxed straight white men of the day was why so many women thought that Liberace was the bee's knees. Little old ladies just thought he was so adorable and cute, and they thought he was cultured, and he plays the piano so beautifully, and look at those candelabras. And to them, he was a vision of sort of elegance, as they said, but others didn't quite understand his appeal, or if they felt sort of threatened by his own style of being his identity. So it makes Liberace a fascinating 50s and early 60s personality. Oh, yeah. I'm glad that as Liberace was becoming quite the cultural phenomenon that Jack Benny had him on the show. And that made it a delight, although when I get around and tell you, not everybody agreed. So I think this is one of these episodes that while critics in 1954 did not think much of it, that we find many aspects of it to be delightful and strange and weird and over the top.
Yes, I think it is one of those that ages like a fine wine and has gotten better over time. I really enjoyed it.
Truly, watching Don Wilson really go over the top with the Middle Lucky's commercial, where he's out in the lobby sniffing at people's cigarettes and actually taking them out of people's hands and tearing and comparing and stuff. It's pretty over the top. It's really wonderful. So
well, and I love it whenever they do something with Don that's creative and fun, Don is just he's a part of the show we don't talk about that much, but he's there throughout. He's one of the very first cast members in the radio show that gets locked in, and then he's there throughout Jack's whole career after that, and Jack was so loyal to him, and he did such a brilliant job being with Jack, and Jack allowed him to do lots of other things. He would be an announcer all over television and radio, and that was a wonderful thing. And he just brought so much humanity and fun to his presentations, and was apparently game for anything and everything. I mean, when they dressed him up as a little kid when they made him lie down on the stage with all these crazy things, that he was he was willing to do it. Yes, I get the impression he was a very good sport about everything. So anyway, and let people rib him about his size. I mean, that is a very sensitive thing to a lot of people, and yet he would let them do that. Now, he wasn't nearly as big as they acted like he was, and so that's always funny. I was always going, he's not really that overweight, but anyway. But John, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was just going to say, like, the fact that he is able to do all these things, pretty much anything you ask of him, he can do. But it seems like he doesn't care. He doesn't need to be a big star. He's happy to just say the opening and that's it. So that's one of the great things about Don Wilson. And the fact that in the commercial, he evokes all those slogans that we've heard a million times on the radio without saying a word. You know, the tear and compare, and you see him do it, you know that's what he's saying. And then he even sort of mimes so round, so firm, so fully packed without saying anything. Yeah. So I thought that was, you wouldn't want to do that every week, but it was a brilliant commercial for a one time, especially if you're already established. And
sometimes the commercials, certainly for the radio show, were so creative and so innovative. In television, they were, and yet it would be harder to think of new things to do. And I just don't think they spent as much time. I think for a television show, you're just working on making the television show great and focus your writing there, that the commercial you don't have as much time for, and so you're not going to put as much effort in it. Whereas the radio show, I think they sort of had the things down, so as far as where they were going to go with Jack that week and things, that they could really go, okay, what can we do with the Sportsman this week that's going to be really funny and really good? And anyway, but go ahead. And John,
when you're comparing the radio to television, one of the things that I thought was great in this episode, which I wasn't expecting, was to see Gertrude and Mabel, the telephone operator.
Oh, yes.
Because they're a staple on the radio show, and I didn't know they were ever on the television show. I didn't even know if it would work, because sometimes voice actresses they're doing a voice, it doesn't necessarily match. They couldn't play it, but I thought it was great to see them in person, and it worked perfectly.
Agreed. I was delighted to see them. And as you're saying this, as you're mentioning this, I hadn't thought about this. So what time frame is this on the radio show? Isn't this the last season of the radio show, or is it 54, 55 was the last season. So I guess this because it just turned to 54. So this would be the season before the last season. So it's towards the end of the radio show. So it's neat that they brought them over to television. I too have never seen them on any of the television shows, and I've seen most of them, so I doubt they come over very much. I'll have to look in Laura's book and see if how many appearances they made. Maybe our friend can look it up for us. Thank you, Kathy, and see if they appear again. I'm just
curious.
Yeah, I'm curious too. So
and on the radio show, speaking of Liberace and how he was this sort of phenomenon, prior to Liberace, they would often joke about how Don Amici had this like $1 million smile. Yes. And once Liberace came, it was all Liberace jokes with his big smile.
Yes.
And his hands, he had quite, no wonder he could play piano well. He had sizable hands. The answer to the Bee herself appeared once in 52, once in 53, 1, 2, 3, 3 times in 54, 3 times in 55, and then never afterward. So
but that's a lot of appearances. So maybe we'll get to enjoy more of them, or who knows, they could be those episodes we're missing too. It's so funny how the missing episodes go sometimes. Sometimes there'll be somebody and they're on 6 different episodes. Well, 5 of them are missing, so we get 1. So you're like, okay, yeah. Anyway, John, you were going to say something else.
I was just going to say that she could play other characters too, like she's quite versatile.
Yes. I mean, in the Humphrey Bogart, isn't she in the Humphrey Bogart TV episode? Isn't she playing one of the thieves or somebody who shows up to the
Which actress are we talking about?
Bea Bernaderet. So
Bea Bernaderet, she might be. And who's the other operator?
Sara Berner? No.
Sara Berner. Sara Berner we've seen appear on some of the other Jack Benny shows, not as the operator, but as another character.
And it was just so cute to have them sitting so next to each other. They didn't build out a big a set for them, but just sort of stuck them sitting next to each other at a table. I like that.
It's so funny as a Benny fan, right? That's probably my favorite part of the whole episode. And I don't think anyone who's just watching the episode that doesn't know the history of the operators would necessarily think that. I don't think they'd say that was a horrible part of the episode or anything. But I think for any of us fans that love the operators, you get that, and you're just so surprised to see them, and you're just enjoying every second of it. And like one of you was saying, I think John was saying, they look so good for the part. I mean, I didn't know if they would match up, but they did. They really did. They looked like operators, and the way they had them made up and the whole thing, it worked beautifully. I'm surprised they didn't go back there more, because you would think that would be a recurring thing that they could do, and it would be fun, and it'd be easy, and it'd take up some time. And I always get the feeling on these shows they're trying to find things to fit the time, so that they go, okay, we can go to this bit, and we go, just kind of like they did the radio show, because otherwise it becomes a long time to fit like a big part. It does better with the snappy little scenes instead of big long scenes.
That's a great point, but I think we'd see that Jack did far fewer shows set at the TV station, or at the rate, whereas so many could be set at the radio station and then, just as you say, move anywhere. I think if we sort of examined the plots of the TV episodes, we'd find that they moved away from that sort of everydayness of putting on the show. Sometimes.
Right. Now he did, though, often on his television show, he would be calling people. And they would show him calling people and have the conversation. So every time he did that, they could have used the operators as an in-between piece, which would have been funny to do that. So I think from now on, I'm going to watch the show and go, oh, there they could have used the operator. Oh, there they could have used the operators, and they didn't. So it's like frustrating, but it's great that we get to see him. So I enjoyed that. So much of this episode is so much fun. I love that it's early Liberace. So Liberace's crazy coat that he wears is just kind of a plaid coat. Like I was telling the guys off air, it reminded me of something Phil Harris would wear or something. It wasn't sequins. It wasn't all the crazy elaborate pieces with fur and everything that later on Liberace would be known for. He was just starting to push the envelope a little bit in that way. And hadn't gotten there yet, but he was known for his candelabras. Of course, they bring that up multiple times on the show. And then he was also known back then. Later on, he didn't do this, but back then he would always, whenever he was appearing on anybody's show or anything, talk about his brother George. And I don't know if Brother George was a real brother or not a real brother. Does anybody know if he?
I believe existed? It was, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
I thought so too. I thought he had a real brother George. Yeah. I don't think George ever appeared or only appeared like once somewhere or something.
We even do references to that in Looney Tunes. Like Bugs Bunny will do a little impression of Liberace and say, "My brother George."
My brother George is he would do that whole thing. Yeah.
I was going to point that up because the scene at Liberace's house where the chef comes out and they're talking about ridiculous, they're going to have gazelle or whatever. That chef was the spitting image of the French chef from mid-50s Benny cartoons, the little French chef with the mustache, and wearing the glove on his hand, and we're gonna have Bunny Bordelaise. And so I love the same way you were talking with the Bing Crosby episode, that when you really are into the culture of this time period and you can see the references sort of moving between media forms, that we could see jokes pulling from Looney Tunes cartoons or referenced in cartoons that are on this show that are referenced other places. It's fun. It's like Easter eggs.
Yes,
totally. There's a reference in this show about another program. It was a children's program called Beanie and Cecil.
Okay.
And of course, later it became a Bob Clampett cartoon, which is great. But at this time, it was like a puppet show. So I think they had Stan Freberg being Beanie the C6 or Cecil the C6 Sea Serpent, doing the puppet and the voice. And then a couple other guys have these like hand puppets. Their mouths don't move, but it was, one of the, not quite like Howdy Doody, but, a similar thing where it's just puppets.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Well, and certainly,
and I love that reference to it's Benny, not Beanie.
Yes.
So yes.
I love that. And like you say, anytime that Stan Freberg is involved in anything, it always is a high quality production and great vocal work and everything that he does. In fact, I was listening to one of John's shows just recently, from the This Day in Jack Benny, and I think this last a week ago or 2 weeks ago, you were doing the only appearance I think that Stan Freberg has on Jack's show, and he does this wonderful soliloquy where he talks for I doesn't. What does he do, John, in that one? You
wouldn't even recognize that it's him if we didn't know it was. He does the voice of a camel, which is just this insane sound.
It's like if a fanboy sort of started to develop a name for himself a little bit, and you're like, he's like, I'll do anything on the show, absolutely anything on the show, and you go, okay, fine, we'll have you be this camel. Would you be willing to do that? Yeah, I'm willing to do that. So that, yeah, it just seems like a part that Mel could just throw out there in a heartbeat, but they throw in Stan Freberg for some reason, and I think, and Stan has said he's a huge Jack Benny fan, so I think that's probably behind the scenes how this all worked out. I don't even think we know the story of it, but like I say, you can kind of piece it together in your head why this might have happened.
Apparently, and this is just what I've read online that Stan Freberg has said later. Apparently, he was a sort of a raucous teenager at the time, and he was like running across the stage or doing something, and so Jack Benny was annoyed and never invited him back again.
Oh. I can see that. I can see Freberg being a little crazy and Jack being like, this is not my thing. So I think Jack, going from that angle, I think Jack would be scared of performing, say, with Robin Williams, who, because I think he had some frustration sometimes working with both Bob Hope and with Fred Allen, because they would improvise so much in things, and Jack was not known for that, and it would throw off his script, and he wouldn't necessarily love that, but he put up with it for those guys. But I think, it would be really interesting if Jack would have been alive at the same time Robin Williams was popular, and ever see them interact together. It would be insane, because I just think Jack would probably just shake his head and walk away at some point.
Well, I think Robin Williams probably, jumping around, doing his stick and things like that. And then Jack Benny would just look at the camera.
Yeah. The ultimate opposite sort of performances for those two. But anyway.
Doing research also for my podcast, I learned a new racial stereotype that I never knew before, which was in Los Angeles especially, the Japanese gardener was a stereotype at the time.
Yes.
So when the World War II episode after Pearl Harbor happened, they made some remarks about Japanese gardeners and things like that. And here again, we see a Japanese gardener in this episode.
Yes. And that is a stereotype. So, and this episode does play with some stereotypes for the different folks that work for Liberace, for sure. Yeah, and it's just like I say, fun episode overall. There's some parts that aren't as good as some of the best Jack Benny episodes, but there's other parts that really work really, really well. So, like we say, the operators. There's a part. I mean, I don't want to give it away. Jack does a fun take at one point on the candelabra thing that Liberace does, and it's just, to me, makes you just smile and laugh and think how cute that is. And
well, I'll tell you, like you say, the high points in this episode are really great and fun and surprising. But even the rest of the episode, the thing that I enjoyed most about it is it seems like Jack, especially, but even Liberace, it seems like they're just having a lot of fun being there.
Yes, it does. And then especially the musical pieces that they do. Jack, they make fun of it and things, but I think Jack really enjoys performing his violin and gets a chance to do what he seldom does on his TV show, and actually perform somewhat serious piece. It's not a long piece or anything, but he does something with Liberace, and that's fun.
With September Song, I thought Jack, these precious days I spend with you, I know it in Willie Nelson's version. I thought Jack was leaning into the bad playing a little bit, so he was.
Oh yeah, he definitely would. He would do a little bit of both. I mean, I think Jack kind of liked to show off that I can really play, but then he go back to the safety of but I'm gonna do it lousy so that you'll get some laughs too. So I mean, he loves to play with that.
I wonder what critics at the time thought of this episode.
Well, that's a good question. It's too bad we have no information whatsoever from critics.
Too bad. No. Well, apparently, a Variety, which like so many things, and had gone a run. They had said like the last 3 Jack Benny appearances were wonderful. They went back to no. This one says anytime you get a fiddler and a pianist together, clinkers can be expected. Unfortunately, the script handed Jack Benny and his guest Liberace last night was full of them. And the net result was a rare laugh and an occasional simper. It was below the Benny par all the way. Scriptwriters Sam Perrin, George Balzer, Milt Joseph, and John Tackberry obviously thought they had the makings of some real humor here, but they belabored one idea for virtually 15 minutes in a scene in Liberace's home. Umpteen candelabra graced the room, and a house full of people in white ties and tails, and the typical Liberace smile drifted on and off camera, milking the gag until it went sour. Basic idea was to have Benny as a guest fiddler at a Liberace concert, but the buildup ruined what impact that might have had. Pianists got a chance to do one good number solo before segueing into September Song with Benny, and the skit had the inevitable climax of a payoff to the comedian at the rate of $1.80 per hour. No one but Benny could have carried it off as well as he did, but mannerisms and bits of business can't always substitute for material. Lucky's had Don Wilson stuffing a peeled cigarette into a bystander's mouth in the latest demonstration of So Round, So Firm, So Fully Packed, the cigarette that is. So at least they enjoyed Rontu, but ouch! So
well, and then you got to love that if you're one of the writers, they mention how lousy the writing is, and then mention all of you by name. It's like, no, mention me by name when I do something right.
Please. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, it kind of ties in, it kind of doesn't. But this week we all are on the Jack Benny Facebook page, International Jack Benny Fan Club, so you can all come over there and interact with any of us because we're all checking it out and things. Well, somebody posted a picture of Jack and Mackenzie. What's her name? Giselle McKenzie, yeah, playing together. And the picture of Jack, I've never seen a picture like this before. I just looking at it and going, that's not Jack in a character. That's not Jack. That is a man that is just enjoying playing his violin and just in a sublime. I mean, you just look at him and the look of joy and enjoyment on his face is so wonderful. I'm so glad that he pursued his love of violin in his later years and could perform in all these performances around the country and everything. And just to see him in that much joy, it was wonderful. It was wonderful to see that. And so here's a chance to see him a little bit in this show playing the violin, which he loves to do. He does it as a joke, but he also does it seriously. He does a little both, and that's all good. Anyway, so very enjoyable show. And if the critics didn't like it, I did. I think all three of us enjoyed it, and so that's a good thing. So we'll just keep making it with you. I love seeing these early episodes that maybe none of us, like this one, I had never watched. I mean, I think I'd watched like bits and pieces of it, but I think for all of us, it might have been our first time watching it. Yes,
I've seen like bits and pieces also.
Yeah, but it's just kind of neat that sometimes we get to experience something all together that we go, oh, that was really fun. And so, and seeing Liberace, it's the guests that Jack can get at this time are just phenomenal. And I mean, recently we've had Humphrey Bogart, we've had Marilyn Monroe, we've had all these people that are just wonderful people that you don't normally get necessarily on television. Now, I will say Liberace was a television phenomenon and bouncing around. He wasn't known for the movies. He was like guest on everybody's shows, I think, is kind of how he became a big name. But anyway, so I hope you all enjoy this. Anything else to point out, John? It looked like you were going to say something.
I was just going to say, one of the great things about the Jack Benny show, because I explain the references, even if you don't know the references, like in this one, Victor Mature, Gary Cooper, and Katharine Hepburn, they explain enough that you can still get the gag, even if you don't know who the actual actors are. And they do that kind of thing a lot on the Jack Benny program.
Yes, both on television and in radio.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, John on his podcast explains a lot of the references and things, which is wonderful. But I think why Jack Benny's show holds up so well is you don't, like John's saying, you don't really necessarily need that. They give you enough that you probably are going to go. I mean, some of the jokes you won't understand or whatever, but by and large you will. Yeah. Whereas if you listen to another show, the show we always talk about in this case is Fred Allen, it's a lot more dense and harder to get into, and a lot more references to what's going on at the time. You kind of need to know what's happening in politics. You need to know what's happening in entertainment. You need to know a lot of background to really get Fred's shows, and that makes it harder for modern audiences to get into Fred's show. I would say, and we recently, you're probably hearing this the week after we did the Bing Crosby one, because I'll be playing these back to back. They go together in that way. On Bing Show also did a really good job of not being so current that you couldn't follow what was going on. It had a lot of the same. I think person can come in and listen to 5 shows, 10 shows of Bing Crosby and really get what that show's about and really enjoy it. I think the same thing with Jack. I think with Jack, if any human being, I think, gives Jack's 10 episodes that you listen to of the Jack Benny show, 90% of you are going to become fans and just go, oh my gosh, I love this guy and I love this show. He just, you don't get it necessarily on the first listen, but by the time you listen to 3 or 4 or 5 episodes, somehow you start going, I'm kind of liking this. And then by 10 episodes, you're going, I love this. And then 700 episodes in, you're like, I still love this. And so, I mean, for us, I mean, John and I, and we're going to be doing at the International Jack Benny Fan Club, we're going to be doing a panel that we're on of all the folks that do podcasting about Jack Benny. And I think one of the things we'll probably be talking about is, why do we love him so much? Why do we keep doing this? I mean, I've done intros to every single Jack Benny radio show ever already, sometimes multiple introductions. And I could just leave it there. But my problem is I love the show so much, and I love to talk about Jack so much, that's what brought me into us talking about the television show too. I mean, hopefully we're going to cover every single television show eventually. So we're working our way through anyway, with that, thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you tune into John's This Day in Jack Benny. And if you have time between listening to John's, maybe you can come over and listen to my poor little podcast over there at Jack Benny OTR, Jack Benny Show OTR podcast. You can get it by just typing in Buck Benny and podcast, or Jack Benny podcast. Both of ours will show up there. And my big thing, I just recently have moved to Spotify. If for watching this stuff, if you want to watch it on Spotify, you can actually see it if you have a Spotify account. And I went into that more last week. Or you can always catch us if you want to watch what we're doing here. You can go to YouTube and just search for Buck Benny, and then we have all these videos of everything, or listen to it anywhere you get podcasts. So thank you so much. Oh, lastly, the name of the podcast, of this podcast we do, because it's a new one that we do, is called the Jack Benny TV program podcast, or just Jack Benny TV podcast. And it's tricky. I mean, I think to do a search and actually find this, because if you search for Jack Benny podcast, or even if you type in Jack Benny TV podcast, you're going to get like a listing that's half my radio shows and half John's radio shows, and my little new television show thing is going to be off on page 5 or something. So the best way to search for it is type in either Buck Benny TV podcast, I think we'll pull it up, or if you type in Jack Benny TV program podcast, I think that'll pull it up. but otherwise it's a little trickier to find. But
and if you're already a Jack Benny fan, get a copy of Jack Benny and the Golden Age of American Radio Comedy.
There you go. There you go. Yes, please do. Anyway, we'll catch all you guys next time. Thank you both. You're wonderful as always. And enjoy Liberace. He's pretty cool.